Hey everyone, we are live at Pruce with Storytime for the week. It's a little bit earlier than normal, but schedules change every day. So today's Storytime is with one of our house ferrets that you've probably seen in our Reptile and Small Animal area. This is Skunk. Skunk is one of two house ferrets. The other one is Wendell. Wendell we've seen plenty of times. He's the white one with black eyes. But I figured I would bring Skunk out this time to give him a little feature because Skunk is just the sweetest little guy, super inquisitive. When he's not super wound up, he's usually pretty into just cuddling and being scratched. So some cool facts about ferrets is that they've actually been domesticated for close to 2,500 years. That's an exceptionally long time, especially for something out of the weasel family like this guy here. It's thought that the Egyptians were the first to actually be the ones to domesticate these, but since there's no mummified remains, we don't really know. But we do know that Europeans have been using them for thousands of years as well, mainly to hunt. So the same way that we can train dogs to hunt, the same way that falconers train falcons and hawks to hunt, you can also train these little guys to do the exact same thing. Now, I wouldn't count on a domesticated one like Skunk here to be all about going out and hunting because he really likes his pelleted food, and I'm not sure how much he would know how to even hunt anymore, but they do get used for that from time to time. Now, these domesticated ferrets are most likely descendants of the European polecat. All of them are members of the weasel family. They also come from the Muslidae group of animals, which includes things like badgers, otters, weasels, a whole variety of animals. Basically, any of our big slinky guys are usually Muslidae. So for today's story, I was going to read Just Right for Christmas, which features a badger. And since we obviously don't carry badgers here in the store, I figured Skunk was the next best thing because I really think Skunk looks like the badger in this story. So I figured, what the heck, we'll do this story instead. But a couple more quick facts about about our little ferret friend here is ferrets can sometimes sleep between 14 and 18 hours a day. Sometimes they'll literally be in the middle playing with one another, let out a big yawn, and then they just fall asleep in place. What's funny, though, is the other ferrets in the group, which a group of ferrets is called a business, which is really, really funny. They still want to play with them, so sometimes they'll bite and tear at them and just drag them across the enclosure, but their skin is 3 times thicker than ours, so they won't even wake up from their business partners doing that with them. Although there's some things we can do with them, like if we need to get them to sleep, we can go ahead and scruff them, and this helps calm them down. They'll yawn, and then they get ready to go to sleep. So it's a good way of being able to calm your ferret down. Ferrets sometimes get called furry slinkies because they can literally fold themselves in half and are super, super pliable animals. One of my favorite things about them is that since they are a carnivore and they do like to hunt small animals, they can fit into spaces the size of their head. So what I always like to show my students is I'll do this, be like, that's the size of his head. If I go down the rest of his body, despite there being a Buddha belly there, he finds a way to slink through it. That's because they have a lot of extra cartilage within their body. This gives them the ability to slink their way through all kinds of different things. So ferrets are very, very mischievous. In fact, their Latin name translates to little thief. And it's because these guys like stealing shiny things that make noise, just kind of a wide variety. Every ferret kind of has their own thing that they like to do. But they never destroy them. They just have like a spot where they take them and just say, nope, this is mine now. You're not having it back. So ferrets can be very, very cool animals. They can be very, very mischievous, but they all have their own individual little personalities. And Skunk here is just a sweetheart. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our story this week of Just Right for Christmas by Birdie Black and Rosalind Birdshaw. And again, I'm featuring this story because I think that Skunk here looks like the badger in our story. So we just named 3 Muslidae animals there. We have a badger. He looks like a skunk because the name is Skunk, but he's actually a ferret. So learning lots about animal groups today. Do you want to hold still? Or can you hold still? Probably not. It was Christmas Eve, and snow was falling as the king strolled around the market. What would he see but a huge roll of beautiful, bright red cloth? Ooh, he said, that cloth is so red and soft and Christmassy, it'd be just right for a grand cloak for the princess. And so he bought it and took it back to the castle. In the castle, the king's sewing maid snipped and sewed and snipped and sewed, and by lunchtime, they made a beautiful long cloak for the princess. The king was delighted. He wrapped it up in a golden paper and silver ribbon. "What shall we do with the scraps?" one of the sewing maids asked. "Oh, just bundle them up and put them outside the back door," said the king. Jenny, the castle's kitchen maid, had finished work for the day. What should she see on her way home but a big bundle of beautiful bright red scraps? "Oh," she said, "that cloth is so red and soft and Christmassy. It'd be just right to make a jacket for my mom." When Jenny got home, she snipped and sewed and snipped and sewed, and by dinner time, she'd made a pretty red jacket for her mom. She was very happy, and she wrapped it in red paper with a green ribbon. Then she bundled up the little scraps and put them outside the back door so her mom wouldn't see them. Skunk, you're making it hard to turn pages, buddy. Birdie Badger trotted past Jenny's house. What should he see but a little bundle of beautiful bright red scraps? "Oh," he said, "that cloth is so red and soft and Christmassy, it would be just right to make a hat for my paw." When Birdie got home, he snipped and sewed and snipped and sewed, and by the time the clock was striking 6, he'd made a nice red hat for his paw. He smiled as he wrapped it up in some brown paper and tied it with string. Then he bundled up the tiny scraps and put them outside the back door. Samuel Squirrel bounded past Birdie's house. Suddenly he stopped. What should he see but a tiny bundle of beautiful bright red scraps? "Oh," he said, "that cloth is so red and soft and Christmassy, it would be just right to make a pair of gloves for my wife." When Samuel got home, he snipped and sewed, snipped and sewed and snipped and sewed, and by the time the moon was rising, he'd made a beautiful pair of gloves for his wife. He wrapped them in a leaf and tied them up with a parcel with a piece of dried grass. "It's just as well I've made her something to keep her hands warm," he said. "This winter wind is so chilly." A gust picked up the tiny scrap of red cloth that was left over and blew it out the window, where it fluttered to the snowy ground. It was nearly midnight when Millie Mouse plodded past Samuel's house. She was tired and cold, and the snow was falling on her ears and whiskers. She had been looking for a nut to give to little Billy for Christmas, but she couldn't find one. As she passed the bottom of Samuel's tree, she saw something red sticking out of the snow. What could it be? It was the tiny scrap of cloth. "Oh," she said, "that cloth is so soft and red and Christmassy, it would be just right to make a scarf for my Billy." Billy was asleep when Millie got home. She snipped and sewed and snipped and sewed, and by the time the candle had burned low, she had made a cozy scarf for Billy. She didn't have anything to wrap it in, but she folded it carefully and put it under her tiny sprig of a Christmas tree. On Christmas morning, the princess opened her huge gold present, and Jenny's mom opened her big red present, and Birdie's pa opened his small brown paper present, and Samuel's wife unwrapped her leaf, and Millie gave little Billy his scarf. Each present was so soft and red and Christmassy and felt just right. Just how Christmas should feel. The end. Well, this is a really cool story because I think it's about being able to reuse things, or knowing that things you might not be using anymore could be really useful to somebody else. In fact, in our house, we go through our stuff a few times a year and we donate clothes and toys and tools or anything else we don't need anymore because we know there's people out there who could still get use out of them. It's not worth just throwing everything away because usually somebody can find a use for it. They always say one man's trash is another man's treasure. So it's always good to try to reuse some things or see if other people need them. Unless you're a ferret who's a thief and just likes to steal things and hide them, because that's what ferrets do. So I hope you guys learned a little bit about our ferret friend, Skunk here, and I hope you learned a little bit about it's just right for Christmas. So we'll see you guys next time.